And it's Good News with Dick Baumbach. And I'm Jeff Heiser here with the infamous Mr. Baumbach. Unfortunately, we weren't able to have Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis back, but I think we'll make it through. What do you think, Mr. Baumbach?
Well, maybe we could have George and Gracie.
I don't know if some of our listeners know who George and Gracie are, but I think so. You alluded to a really good story last time around about the homeless and continuing on with your homeless stories. And today we kick it off with a dozen homeless people have been reunited with their families thanks to this startup.
Yeah, 15 people who were living on the streets have been positively reunited with their families thanks to social media and the efforts of one volunteer group called Miracle Messages. And this group was started basically to see if they could have some reunions for homeless people with families. And some families don't want to get together, and the homeless people don't want part of the family. But there are others, and the founder is Kevin Adler, and he said he sees it as people who really want to get back to family but don't know how.
Yeah. I've, over the years, I've talked to many homeless people I've run into, and that seems to be a common thread. Is that they don't know where their family is, or they don't know how to get in touch with them.
Right, and what Kevin did, and he did the project in honor of his late Uncle Mark, who he basically lived on the streets. He had schizophrenia, and he decided in the holiday season of 3 years ago to start it. People said it's never going to work, and now he's up to 15.
That's amazing. That's a big win. Just one is a big win. 15 is huge. This next story,
yes,
I can just fall into it. Boy trips, falls, and discovers rare million-year-old fossil.
This 10-year-old, his name is Jude Sparks. He and his family were exploring La Cruces, New Mexico, and they were just walking around, and he tripped, and he fell to the ground, and he came face to face with a strange-looking jawbone and tusk. And the family decided to call a biology professor that they knew, Peter Hody from New Mexico State University. He came, he unlocked the thing and put it apart. It's a 1.2 million year old Stegomacedonian skull.
Wow.
And
wow.
And it would look to any of us like an elephant, but it was huge. And they now think that there is a lot of this in this particular area.
Wow. And just from falling.
He fell down.
Yeah.
And he basically said to his mom and dad, "This is a strange-looking thing looking at me." And they went over, and they said, "We got to call our friend." And
the universe doesn't have a plan for us.
Right. Right.
Oh, gosh. This next one, this is really near and dear to my heart, and I'll tell you after we talk about this story. Man built $550 staircase for park after city estimates $65,000 to build it.
Yet, again, this is one of those stories coming out of Canada, and this gentleman, he was a retired mechanic, and there's a local park trail that's dangerous. And the city estimated that it's in Ontario area, that to repair the Tom Riley Park path, it was going to cost between $65,000 and $150,000.
The actual materials were $5.
Right. And so this gentleman's name is Adi Asti, and he decided he could do it for a lot less, like you just said.
Yep.
And so he and some other neighbors put together $550, and they built the 8 steps. And it's interesting because some of the people, the politicians, are not happy with this, and they think he should not have done it. But the public is saying, "Give me a break."
Yeah, he saved over $65,000.
Yes.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I mean, but and again, there's somebody saying a good of heart, saying, "Hey, my city doesn't need to spend that kind of money."
Exactly. Back in I think it was 1993. I won't tell you where I was working, but I was affiliated with some big organizations, and this report came out from the Navy, at the accounting office about the Navy and about what we're spending on certain tools and commodes and toilet seats and all that. Well, they had a hammer listed at $9,500. Yeah. Wow. So I went down to the Home Depot. At that time, it was down in Melbourne. I bought a hammer. I put it in a box, and I sent it to the place that I knew where the place was, down in South Florida. And I sent it to them, and I told them that this was $9 and something. Obviously, whatever you got charged for your hammer, it was probably a typo. Never got it back. Never heard anything about it, but it was like, I could go down and buy the top of the line hammer for less than $10, and they're charging for one hammer $9,500.
Well, come on, come on, Jeff.
Holy smokes! That's all I could say. It reminds me of I'm watching the Sopranos, and it reminds me of something. Everybody got to get greased along the way.
I'm thinking we should go out and buy some of those hammers and sell it to this company.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of my friends said that's what you should do.
Yeah.
Charge $8,000, and it's like that's just so. To me, it's just wrong.
I'll be right back. I got to go to Home Depot.
Yeah, I've got 3 more orders for hammers. I won't be working for the next 2 months. All right, the last show for today is about a teen who succeeds at making free sunscreen available at public schools. First off, you can't even bring aspirin to a public school without getting arrested.
No, it's a public. Is it public schools or public?
Public pools.
Yes,
pools. Oh, I apologize.
That's okay. I mean, sometimes it's the reading. This is a 16-year-old Lindley Brennan. And she just went on mission. She said that something needed to be done to help people. And she was doing a research project in school on tanning beds. And according to her findings, people who had 30 SPF sunblock are 80% less likely to get skin cancer. So she went to the city of Boston, and she found out that they had free dispensers. So then she came back to her hometown, which is St. Louis, Missouri, and she convinced them that they would allow her to do it. And now she's raised $1,600, and they've dispensers now at all of the public pools.
That's amazing. What's really amazing is all of the stories that you bring about young people. It's crazy. And, sometimes they get such a bad rap, but your good news stories are always highlighting the young people. And
it's obvious to us, and we hear stories about bad people, right, whatever, but there are good people out there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you for bringing us the good news stories. What do you got for us next time?
Well, it's about people stepping up to help somebody who lost something.
Well, until then, Mr. Baumbach, have yourself a wonderful week, and thanks for bringing us the good news.